eyes?
So I'd like to say a big thank you to our viewers, and then a big shout out to my mom and dad. So it's a very brilliant question that you asked.
Yeah.
The Bible talks about in Matthew 6:22 that if your eye is good, then your whole body is full of light.
Yeah.
But if your eye is bad, then your whole body is full of darkness. So it just goes to show how important the eye is as an organ in the human body. And, cataract is a very interesting condition in the sense that it can be devastating because it can cost you your vision.
Yeah.
It's like one day you can see, and then over a short period of time, then you can see.
Yeah.
And if you can't see, you become somewhat of a liability in the sense that you can't work, you can't generate any income, and then people who have to work or can work, they have to stop whatever they are doing and then take care of you. So it has far-reaching, socioeconomic implications. But the good thing about it is that it can be treated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take us through how the development is, and if we have pictures on that, maybe someone will be wondering what we are even talking about. Producer, if you could display some of the pictures that shows symptoms of what we are discussing, I think it will help us.
Yes. So the human eye essentially is displayed as we can see on our screen, and then this they've cut through it. In medicine, we call it a cross-sectional view. Okay, and then we can see in the front of the eye is what, when I'm looking into your eyes, I would see on the where is labeled the cornea, the iris, the pupil.
Yeah.
That's what I would see when I'm looking into your eyes. But we also have this very important structure in the eye called the lens.
Lens.
So, for example, here in the studios, we have cameras, we have lenses. If there's a photographer at your wedding event, when you look in the center of the camera, you could see some glass, very shiny glass in there. It's also a lens. God made us with a natural lens in our eyes. That helps us to see. Because I'm looking in this room and I see a lot of things at the same time. But the reason why I'm able to do that is that the lens that is being displayed concentrates all the light rays that are hitting at your eyes into one particular interpretation, so they can interpret what you're looking at. Now, cataract occurs when this particular lens, and then a very important property of this lens is that it's transparent.
Okay.
You can see through it, and it's composed of gelatinous tissue, in the sense that it is a combination of water and then a combination of very fine proteins. And the proteins are formed in a way that they allow for light to pass through without,
Doc, let me take you back
a
bit. When we're discussing, explaining the lens,
Yes.
I think we have a picture on that. So if
Fantastic.
you could take us through again.
The image on your left, if you're watching from home, is an image of how a lens looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this picture, the lens has been cut through, and there are various components of the lens.
Okay.
They've been highlighted in this picture, but in real sense, you can't see
them.
all these fine parts. It just appears transparent all the way through. So they are very fine, structures or protein elements that called collagens that constitute the cortex and the nucleus of a lens. And its key property that allows us to see is that we can see through it, that it's transparent.
Okay.
So that's
just like the camera lens.
Exactly.
Oh, okay,
exactly.
Okay.
We have that in our eyes.
Okay.
Now, when you have challenges, because it focuses image on the back of your eye so that you can see. So for some reason, if you have problems focusing and not being able to see from a certain distance or not seeing things that are close to you, then we give you another additional lens that we will call a prescription glasses.
Oh, okay.
So it's just to help the natural lens that we have to do its job.
Okay.
Now, cataract comes into play when, for some reason, this transparent lens starts to become opaque.
Okay.
In the sense that it becomes hazy, and now it's no longer as transparent as it should be, and then you can't see through it. And then over a gradual period of time, leads eventually to blindness.
Okay. What are the factors that cause cataracts?
Yes. So we have about 5 types of cataracts based on how the cataracts come about. It's worthy of note that WHO did a study, and the 1.6% of all of Africa is blind.
Wow.
And then out of this 1.6%, close to 40% is due to cataract.
Okay.
You know, so it's almost close to half of people who are currently blind in Africa are treatable. So the primary or the commonest cause for cataracts in Africa and in Ghana is age-related cataracts. And then age-related cataracts essentially are cataracts that are likely to occur the older you get. So essentially it's like buying a brand new Mercedes. You know, you bought the Mercedes in 2010. If we, go back, we come and visit your house today and we look at the Mercedes that you have in your house that you got in 2010, it won't be as shiny as it used to be. It's the same thing with the human body, particularly the human eye. As you go through the years, there are various stresses, stresses like infection, stresses like ultraviolet light radiations, stresses like trauma to the eye, stresses like, we call some very toxic substances, free radicals, that they are like waste products from the body's, it's like excretion product or waste products from the body cells.
From the body cells.
And then also from, byproducts of medications, byproducts of some fast foods and things that we eat and tend to imbibe into our bodies. And these free radicals tend to damage our body cells through a process we call oxidative stress. And all of this, micro trauma and damages to the eye over a long period of time. You find yourself, say, 60, 70 years, and then you can't see, you have cataract.
Oh, okay. So it is something that grows or gathers to pop up in the future.
Old age, yes.
It is not something that just happens at once.
So that's one way it can come about. So we call that age-related cataracts. So we tend to find all those constellation of risk factors culminating in cataract in your old age. And then on the other side of things, we have what we call a pediatric cataract. The pediatric cataract is unlike the age-related cataract. It's in younger people.
Like what we are seeing
exactly.
on the
screen. So on our screen we can see a beautiful young girl, and then we see that if I look into your eyes, I shouldn't see a whitish thing, but in her eye we can see a whitish, something white circular patch right there in the eye, meaning that the lens that's supposed to be transparent has become hazy with a whitish, opacity.
And this is an older
Yes, and this is for a more mature person. So that tells you that we can have cataracts in both the elderly and then in the young.
Oh, I see.
Exactly. So the image on our screen, a normal eye should be dark on the left, as you can see, but a pathological eye or an eye with cataract appears whitish when you look into it. So if you want to know, or you want to play doctor at home, and then you have someone who is visually impaired, you can try this and see, and then refer the person for care.
I see. Okay, so you were on the
yes. So we talked about the age, the pediatric cataract. So with the pediatric cataract, there are 2 components. One of the primary components is, as the human body is growing in the womb or in the fetus, they can encounter some congenital or growth abnormalities. So for one reason or the other, the lens does not develop as it should in the womb. And then a baby is born with a cataract right from the mother's womb. So we call that a congenital cataract.
Cataract.
Yes, and then for some other people, they are not born with a cataract, but they are born with a genetic predisposition to acquire cataract from the mother and from the mother. So both parents can contribute to the child being genetically predisposed to have cataract. So as they go through life, more likely than others, the oxidative stress, the diets, the lifestyle, factors are more likely to accelerate the rate at which they develop their cataract as opposed to the rest of the population. So that's the pediatric cataract.
Right.
And then a more interesting one is what we have called traumatic cataract.
Okay.
It's a lesser known type of cataracts, but once you take a few blows to the eyes over a period of time.
Physical blows?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Some physical trauma to the eye over a certain period of time, you're predisposed to develop traumatic cataracts.
See.
Yes.
So those that suffer from domestic abuse and boxers,
yes,
they are likely to have...
you're at risk of developing a traumatic cataract.
See.
You know.
See.
So, and then we have another type of cataracts called the radiation cataract. It's a lesser known type of cataract, but it's something that should be of concern to everybody because we live in West Africa, in the tropical zone, when the sun is up and doing. You know, it's never lazy, showing up every morning, working hard. And the consequence of that is that the UV light, the UV rays from the sun are hitting our eyes, and then the UV radiation from the sun has the ability to induce oxidative stress. And then the UV radiation from the sun, you know, interferes with the natural proteins I talked about in the lens.
Yeah.
And it deforms these transparent proteins in the lens. And once these proteins and collagens become deformed, then they take up that whitish hue in the sense that they make the lens become more whitish, that you can't see through.
Yeah.
You know, so that causes what we call a radiation-induced cataract.
Okay, so from the pictures, I could see that the whitish thing is all big in the eyes.
Yes.
Does it just start like that? Does it just appear as big as we are seeing, or is that, you know, as very little and then it grows into something big?
Excellent question. So a cataract starts the way a man would make a woman fall in love. It's very slow, very gentle. We meet on the first day. Hey, my name is Derek. What's your name?
Mimi.
Mimi. Oh, I like you. What do you say? So, oh, I don't have time for you. Go away. No. And then it's just a gradual process.
Yeah.
And then you start to engage all the risk factors that we talked about. And then aggregated over time, then it starts to grow. So when someone has cataracts, what they'll start to experience are some changes in their vision, which will eventually culminate in blindness. Okay,
so we have a question here, but before I take that, let me ask you this. My research that I did showed that cataract is very prevalent in women or among women as compared to men. Is there any significant factor contributing to this?
Well, it's a very interesting observation that cataracts is more, you know, predominant in women as opposed to men. But one of the key things that we see is that there are a lot of risk factors that can aggregate to justify why cataracts comes about. And then maybe for some reason, some of the risk factors we may be more susceptible to these risk factors, but some more research may be needed to establish why it's more prevalent in women than in men.
Well, I think you made mention of the fact that you're exposed to, you know, some other, you know, substance, waste products and other things. So women are mostly likely to be exposed to such things. Absolutely. So I think that can be one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's an interesting component to lifestyle.
Lifestyle, exactly.
You know, lifestyle and chronic diseases. So chronic diseases like diabetes. If you are diabetic, your body releases a lot of, you know, blood sugars, one of which is called sorbitol, and is roaming around freely in your body. And this sorbitol has the ability to denature the proteins that are in your lens or your eye, so creating that opaque lens, and then you can't see through it, and then you have cataract. So diabetics, particularly those who don't have their blood sugars controlled, who are not on medications, can develop cataract. And then on the lifestyle bit, because this is a lifestyle segment, people who smoke and drink at a higher risk of developing cataract. So we circle back to smoking, the last conversation
the other time,
And then people who drink or take some alcohol at an increased risk of developing cataract in their lifetime. And then also to people who are obese. And obesity is one of the silent pandemics creeping into our society. You know, we've been categorized as a third world country. And then, you know, there are feeding programs for our country. There's a lot of talk about poverty, right? But then I think the landscape is changing. We are seeing a lot more Ghanaians encountering prosperity or coming into prosperity. Although we'll complain the economy, but then some people are doing quite well. And the downside for that is that we see that nutrition is getting out of hand, and people are eating more than they should. People are eating fast foods, less healthier options. So they're becoming more obese, and obesity works together with diabetes. So then you're at an increased risk being obese to develop cataract.
Wow. I'm much concerned about the lifestyle aspect of this, because the other time we spoke about lung cancer and smoking, alcoholism and other things, and today you're talking about cataract and then smoking and alcoholism.
It comes back to it. I think this is a very important segment because the way we live our lives and the things that we do has far-reaching implications on every organ in the body, you know.
Well, let's take our question. So this is from Akosia in Accra. Akosia is saying, please, is there any treatment for the cataract? I think Akosia wants us to finish drinking our soup before eating our food. We're building, you know, towards that, but if you could just answer that. So,
sure thing. So the thing that makes me excited about talking about this disease is that there's 100% guaranteed solution to cataract. And the downside about this solution is that it's not a drug you can take. There's no medicine for cataract. Okay. You can't walk into a pharmacy and say, Pacho more cataracts, mommy, it's not gonna work. The definitive solution to treating cataract is surgical. It means you have to undergo a surgery. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I attended a workshop, a health workshop, because I had the privilege of being a medical superintendent of a government hospital. And then while I was in this very important workshop, there was another health worker sitting next to me because we were in a conference. And then he sat next to me. They brought the conference materials, the program lineup. And I noticed he was struggling to read the program lineup because it was in very fine print. And then he brought out a pair of glasses, very huge pair of glasses. He still could not see what it was. So then he was asking me, what is this? What have they written? Is it mommy? What's it? Is it menu? Okay. So we kept going on like, so no, there's something wrong. So I just engaged him in a conversation. And then we're sitting side by side this whole time. So when he turned to face me and I looked him in the eye, then I knew immediately that this man has got a cataract. So I asked him a very direct question. When are you going to get the surgery done? And he said, oh, I'm waiting for 1 or 2 things. I said, no. The surgery for cataract are not overly expensive. They're not overly expensive. Unlike most other surgeries, cataract surgeries are fairly simple, straightforward. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. For the surgery to be done. Within a short time, it's done and over. But what we experience is that people are afraid of surgery.
I even wanted to ask you, is it just purely surgical when we talk about cataract treatment?
Yes. So what we find is that, like I talked about, there are a few things we can do to prevent the onset of cataract. But once cataract is established to the point where it's impairing your day-to-day activity, you can't see, you can't read, you can't write, you can't drive, then you have to do surgery to correct that. And then the good news about the surgery is that it returns your vision to what it was before the cataracts came. So for most people, it's like a miracle before the surgery and then after the surgery, because some of them have been blind for years, not knowing that cataract was a curable condition. We screen them, we have the surgeries done for them, then they can see again. I'll never forget an outreach I did in Dadiaso, a small rural community in Western North region. And then when the ophthalmologist did the surgery, there was an old woman, that had had cataracts for close to 10 years. And then when they did the surgery, she was now seeing her granddaughter for the first time. And then she said that, my name said, she's had cataracts all her life. Something that's curable, but has never seen the granddaughter before. So it's a very, rewarding experience and a very curable condition. I think
you take us through the preventive measures again, but we have another question here. This is from Oduma inside Alobushi, and she's asking if cataract is hereditary.
Yes, so there's a hereditary component of cataract. The inheritance pattern, this is for the more technical people, for the autosomal inheritance pattern, meaning that a particular gene from either of your parents can cause you to have it. It contributes to about 44% of the cataracts that are inherited. And then the recessive component, I mean, more, you need one of it from your mother and one of it from your mother coming together before you can get it, contributes about 80%.
Okay.
So together we have about close to 60% likelihood of inheriting cancer from your cataract from your parents.
Okay. So on early detection, the issue of early detection, what are some of the minor symptoms that we can detect at the early stages of cataract so we can work towards treating it?
Fantastic. So most people in Ghana use glasses, and then the reason why people would use glasses vary. But the more common reason is that they have difficulty seeing an object that's in front of them at various distances. So people suffering from cataracts also have a similar challenge. They're unable to see things that are close to them. Okay. And their vision becomes progressively cloudy. So they're unable to see things that are just in front of them. And it becomes progressively cloudy. And it becomes more notorious when it comes to people who drive. What they'll start to experience is that they have this glare when a car is coming and the car has their highlights on. Then you realize that you have a bit of glare. The whole thing becomes glare because now the lens is not transparent anymore like we saw in the images. The lens becomes white and opaque. So any light that falls on it is spread across. So you have this bright glare in your eyes that it affects your driving because you have this glare, particularly when you're driving in the night. And then they start to experience some color changes. They're not seeing a color as the color should be, and then progressively it gets worse and worse and worse. I talked about how that most Ghanaians or some Ghanaians use glasses. And then if you're having a cataract, one of the signs that can show is that you're having to change your prescription more often than usual. So ideally, a prescription should be changed every 2 years. You just walk in, have the prescription redone. But most of the time, the prescription stays the same. But for people with cataracts, they buy a pair of glasses. It works for January. By September, the glasses is not working. They can't see through the glasses. They have to go for another test to get a stronger, prescription medication. So the rate at which you're losing your vision can give you a clue.
Wow. We have another question here, and this is from Kwame inside Kaswa, and he's asking, please ask Doc if cataracts can reoccur after surgery, and how can patients maintain their eye health post-treatment?
Fantastic. So cataract can reoccur after surgery.
Then it means the surgery was not successful?
Not particularly. Not particularly. So we call that secondary cataracts. Okay. So essentially, when we did the surgery for cataract, we put a very tiny device in the lens. I wish they could display the lens for us.
Producer, do we have that picture, please?
Yeah, the lens showing the eyeball. Okay. So we put a certain, instrument in the eye. We cut through the visible part of the eye that I can see when I'm looking into your face. And then we reach the lens. And then we make a small incision in the lens. And then when we make this incision in the lens, the cataract is a whitish patch. So we insert an instrument and then we suck out all the old lens and take out all the substance from the old lens. And then we put a new artificial lens into your eye. So once we put this artificial lens into your eye, it sounds very painful and scary, but it's a very simple and interesting process. So what happens is that once we put that new artificial lens into your eye, that lens cannot develop cataract. However, what can occur is that there's some debris and then some materials that can form, or some proteins that can form behind the lens or in front of the lens. So that's what we call cataract, because the people are still seeing blurred images. When it happens, we follow you up, and then you come to the hospital. We have a laser procedure where we'll pass it through your eyes. And the laser would destroy all those particles left in the eye. So after a few days, you go back to seeing well.
Okay. We have another question here, and this is from Eva. Eva is asking, please, can Doc take us through the preventive measures again so we can understand it properly?
Okay.
They are more concerned about the preventive.
So to prevent cataract, we start with lifestyle. Most of the problems in this world finds their roots in lifestyle. So nutrition.
Okay.
Eating foods that contain antioxidants.
Okay.
In fact, research show that the age-related cataracts, which most people are likely to get as they grow old, is delayed or prevented by 26%, as much as 26% for people who take a certain amount of antioxidants, particularly beta-carotene, vitamin A. Beta-carotene, vitamin A. If you take this on a daily basis, on a regular basis, then you delay your chances of having an early onset age-related cataracts by as much as 26%.
Wow.
It's a very important statistic. So that means that your diet is your best bet to help prevent cataract. And then there are various supplements, there are various means through which we can get vitamin A. One is through fruits and vegetables. So carrots, tomatoes, potatoes, these are all very rich sources of vitamin A and then beta carotene.
Okay.
But for those that don't have access to some of these fruits and vegetables, so there's a very well curated eye vitamin that is available on the market. But a lot of fake brands, so maybe I may share my number for those who are interested in getting some of these supplements to be able to acquire some. And then also we talked about how that the UV rays from the sun can, cause cataracts. So essentially, if you find yourself working in the sun, you're a surveyor, you're an engineer, you're always standing in the sun, a constructor, a mason, you may want to get what we call photochromic glasses or sunglasses that helps to shield your eyes from some of the UV rays in the sun. Wearing of hats can also help, minimize the impact of radiation from the sun on your eyes.
Most Ghanaians have this perception that if you're wearing glasses, then it means you're blind.
Yeah.
So they'll rather walk with their eyes open, even though they are blind. So we have another question here, and this is from Esther from Pokwase. Esther says, please ask Doc if glaucoma is the same as cataracts.
Yeah, so there's a difference between glaucoma and cataract. However, both of them lead to blindness, or both of them can lead to blindness. Cataract, as you explained, glaucoma, on the other hand, is essentially you have water filling up your eye. Your eye is made up about close to 80%, 90% of water. So if you suck all this water, your eyeball literally collapses. Okay. So we have special structures in the body that produces these waters that sustain the shape of the eyeball. Now, when for some reason, the water that is being produced in the eye cannot be drained as quickly as it should, then more water is coming in. There's a lot of fluid tension in the eye, and then it causes damage to the neural structures or the components of the eye that allows us to see. So this excess fluid buildup causes a lot of tension and then destroys the parts of the eye that allows us to see. So that's what we call a glaucoma.
Glaucoma, okay. Yes. It's not the same, just
They're
that
not the same.
They all lead to blindness.
Exactly.
Okay. We have another.
For glaucoma, it's irreversible blindness.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So it's more.
You can't do anything about it.
You can't do anything about it.
Oh, okay.
So even then, when we see that you have glaucoma, where the damage has occurred up to, the medications that we can give you stop the damage from getting worse, but it doesn't help your vision to get any better.
Oh. Okay, so we have another question. Good morning, I'm Sami. Please, I have someone who complains of pain in her eye, right eye. Anytime she closes it hard and opens it, and also sometimes it gets swollen. So, okay, so please, can you ask Doc what could be the cause? This is from Overcomers Nation inside Tesano. So he's saying that he has someone who complains of the eye, the right eye, anytime she closes it and opens it, and sometimes it even gets swollen. So what could be the cause of that?
Fantastic. Oh, Overcomers Nation is actually my church.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's my church member.
So your church members are watching.
Let me give a quick shout out to my pastor. So big ups to Reverend Ebenezer Kronipa. Okay. He's the head pastor of Overcomers Nation Church in Tesano. He's celebrating his 15 years in ministry.
Oh.
So congratulations.
Is it this coming Sunday?
It was just past Sunday.
Oh.
Yeah, this past Sunday. And then, so essentially, there are a number of eye conditions that can cause that. You know, cataract does not cause pain. It's not notorious for causing pain.
Okay.
It's just a vision loss. However, there are various, if this person has this condition as a recurrent condition, it could be what we call an allergic conjunctivitis. You know, if it's an infective, like from time to time, the person gets it. It could be, you know, an infectious conjunctivitis. It could be a wide range of infections affecting various structures of the eye. So I'd recommend that the person walks into an eye clinic and then gets a test done and then gets treatment for that.
Wow, right. So just to wrap up, please give us your advice to our viewers watching us, those that are refusing to go for eye, screening and other things. What will you tell them?
Where's my camera? Okay, so if you're at home watching me, this is Dr. Derek Collett. I'm a resident in Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. And then this is what I have to say to you. If you have cataract, it's a very treatable condition. And you are young, you are watching me, you are conscious about your health, you are very conscientious. You have a family, you have children, you have a wife. You want to make sure that you do everything to give them the best chance at having a really good life. Then you want to take proactive steps when it comes to your eye health by visiting the eye clinic very regularly, by taking foods that are rich in vitamins, particularly vitamins A and then beta carotene. If you don't have access to these fruits, because some of the fruits can be seized now, then you can take some eye supplements for them. Let me drop my number for those who are not sure about where to get some of these eye supplements. You can reach out to me on a WhatsApp-only contact, 055-924-6993. I take it one more time, 055-924-6993. I can help you get some of these supplements. Sure. And then if you have cataract, it's very treatable. And then it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to finish the procedure. Okay. And then we give you pain relief. Like, you don't know we are done until we tell you we are done. So if you have fear of going through an enormous amount of pain, we give you something for the pain. You don't feel any pain. Right. So people should come out and get tested.
All right. There you have it. That is Dr. Derek Collett. He is a medical or health practitioner with the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, and he helped us with understanding cataract, looking at the causes and also symptoms of cataract. And he said it is very treatable. And so even if you have it, just contact him. He is going to help you get some treatments. This is where we end the lifestyle segment here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. I am Miriam Abna Adede, and up next we have some amazing personalities to celebrate today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday.
Right, so we are celebrating our, birthday celebrants. I mean, the month of September, and we are starting off with our first celebrant. So happy birthday to you, Becky of St. Edward Clinic inside Bogoso. May the good Lord continue to bless you and protect you. You deserve all the good things in life. Have a blessed birthday, sweetheart, Becky. A happy birthday to Brian at Cape Coast. God bless you for your kind heart. Okay, a happy birthday to my son, Daniel Adom Amo, aged with massive grace, just like your name. Mommy loves you. Enjoy your day. From your mom, Na Amankwa Evelyn, Daniel Adom Amo. And this is from Tina to Deck. And she's saying, on your birthday, I pray that God blesses you with all the good things in life, health, wealth, happiness, and success. May your dreams come true and may you achieve all that you set out to do. Happy birthday, Dick. This is from Bevelyn to Ellis. Okay. God bless you, Lil Sis. May you grow in wisdom and in stature. Happy birthday to the lovely twins, Lily and Lillian. God bless you so much. Okay, it's my wife's younger sister's, birthday, little wifey. Okay, may God bless you and increase your territories. This is from Dan Opong inside Koforidua. Okay, so from all facilitators and readers at the Awatre Edwards Reading Club, we wish Miss Lydia Saki a happy birthday. God bless you abundantly for everything. So may He grant you long life with good health and strength. May all that you do, may all that you wish for be granted to you. We appreciate you so much. Keep being amazing. Okay, so this is to Mami Ekia. Happy birthday to Mami Ekia inside Alogboshi. May the good Lord continue to keep you and enlarge your coast. Have a wonderful birthday. Chill, but don't freeze. Okay, and this is also to Mercy. May the love and friendship you've shared with me come back to you in abundance on your special day. Happy birthday, Mercy. And this is to Prophet Andrew Quay. Please wish my Prophet Andrew Quay a glorious birthday. I pray for God's protection upon his life in the years to come. From your daughter, Esther. This is also from siblings to Opito. A king was born today, a hero was born today. A solution to the predicament is now available. Happy glorious birthday to you, dear brother. May this new chapter of your life unlock divine writings concerning your life. Be fruitful and multiply in all your ways. From landlord and Opoku's family, this is to Samuel Kwesi Opoku. Thank you for being a shoulder I can always lean on no matter what. I love you so much. Happy birthday, buddy Samuel Kwesi Opoku, aka Osama. And this is also from James to Vivian. Vivian, okay. Happy birthday, sweetheart. I don't want to commit myself. Okay, and this is to our beautiful Yaira of Cocoa Digest Morning Show. This is from All Clock TV staff. We are wishing you a happiest birthday, Yaira, praying that you shall always be the head and not the tail. You will always be a step ahead of your enemies in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. And this is to our very own General Manager, Mr. Cephas Dosu. A glorious birthday to you, General Manager of Clock TV, Mr. Cephas Dosu. On this special day, we want to express our deep appreciation for your leadership, guidance, and the positive energy you bring to our team every day. May this year bring you as much success and happiness as you've inspired in all of us. Here's to another year of reaching new heights together. Cheers to you and all the great things ahead. From All Clock TV staff, we wish our General Manager a happy birthday. Boss, I'm hyping you today. You know what time it is. Boss. Right, so that is all we have for our birthday celebrations today. But we also have a message here, and this is from James. And he's saying, we are very sad this morning as Get Fit family. Our brother who runs the day-to-day activities of our organization, Alfred Ejay, lost his father last night, and we are very heartbroken. Our heart goes out to you and your family during this difficult time. Please accept our sincerest condolences. As the Get Fit family, we are all here for you and stand together in mourning. Your father will be deeply missed, but his memory and legacy will live on in our hearts. We love you so much, brah. This is from the CEO of Jadad Get Fit, James Marcelo. James, I've read your message. Please, I've read it. Right. So thank you so much for staying with us. It is still the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Up next, Clement Yabankwe is taking us into the world of business. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Unclogged TV. Beyond the policy.
What's that? What are you doing?
Painkillers.
Oh, for your leg.
No, because they're yummy. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too stoned to tell. So.
Yeah. They call me Kevin. Yeah. Because that's my name. Roll call. Shibuya.
This plantation, we're running low on greenbacks, and we're having problems paying the people who give us the seeds.
Knock, knock.
Who's that?
KGB.
KGB?
They will ask the questions.
What the hell was that?
What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, hey! Stop it!
Come on, Andy.
Switch.
Switch.
I know how complicated this delivery could get.
Well, I'm gonna need everyone in this room to believe me when I say that only good things are gonna happen here today. I want you to know it.
36 years ago, you left me at the front door of a fire station. I'm your biological son. If you think I'm gonna forgive you,
I don't.
screw you. You wanna meet your grandchildren?
He is looking good.
He's not right.
Your wife is in distress, Jack.
Do you remember what Dad used to say?
Go see your babies. They're excited to meet their father.
He tried to kill her. He tried to kill Kathy.
Who's he working for?
NYPD. He's the international liaison in Rome.
I want answers. Closure. I need that for my children. I'm just trying to find out who killed my wife.
Upstairs is giving us the organized crime task force. Elliot is not in charge of it.
Who is?
Detective Stabler. Nice to see you again. Our charge is to bust an international drug cartel.
I'd kind of like an introduction.
I run a legitimate business enterprise.
And my job is to catch scumbags. There's no doubt in my mind. I know what you are.
Extraordinary accusations call for extraordinary evidence, Detective. Prove it.
I will. Eli, get inside. Get inside.
We can nail the son of a bitch who did this to your family.
I was a damn good cop 12 years ago. I'm a better cop now. And I will take it.
This time I will make damn sure that he stays dead.
I don't know how to stop him.
You start by letting people help you.
But he's gonna come after you.
Let him come. I'm not that easy to kill.
There's a new player we've been tracking. We've been calling him Deathstroke. Find him.
This started with the two of us. That's how it ends.
You can't go out there by yourself. It's suicide. They're designated Task Force X.
Welcome to the Suicide Squad.
OJ and Charles Manson one available?
Deadshot is a go.
Shrapnel's a go.
Tiger's a go.
I created the Huntress.
Yeah, well, you created Slade too.
I have my allies, just as you have yours.
Be prepared for anything.
If they're wearing a mask, they get a bullet.
Once you let the darkness inside, it never comes out.
What are you gonna do? Kill me.
I need my gun, Kane. I need the gun.
You will have the gun as soon.
You
out.
Honey, they're 0-6. Let's take it down a notch.
This is the story of three very unique families.
Oh, this must be your dad.
Her dad? Yeah. No, that's funny. Actually, no, I'm her husband. Don't be fooled by the,
Luke just shot me. They're only plastic BBs.
Buddy, uncool.
Excuse me, but this baby would have grown up in a crowded orphanage if it wasn't for us, Cream Puff. And you know what? Note to all of you who judge. You small-minded, ignorant few. What?
We're all in this together.
What was that? Did anybody say that?
Terrific. My main concern is keeping us alive.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
Good morning and welcome to the Business Update segment, where we bring you nothing but the best in the world of business. I am Clement Yabankwe, your host, and today we are going to look at a very topical issue which has to do with the public debt of Ghana. Have you been wondering why it has increased? Looking at 2022, 2023, and currently 2024, our public debt keeps on increasing. And we are going to look at today its economic impact on our daily activities. But before then, let's get what the Finance Minister said last week when he was speaking to the press. So Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has reported that Ghana's public debt reached 761.1 billion Ghana cedis as of July Ghana cedis. He explained that the rise in cedi terms and the decline in United States dollars were due to the factors such as the depreciation of the cedi, disbursement from multilateral institutions, and domestic budget financing. Dr. Adam also announced that the ministry would soon initiate an exchange offer, a crucial step in the external debt restructuring progress. He emphasized that the government remained on track to meet its debt targets under the International Monetary Fund (IMF) program. Regarding this issue, we will be speaking with an economist to know how this debt issue we have in Ghana, its impact, is it really good? And looking at, are we being election year? Are we supposed to expect more of increment in public debt? Doing this with me is an economist who also is a PhD finance candidate. He's a chartered financial economist and also a chartered accountant. He is in the person of Mr. Martin Ohin Enim, who will be joining us and speaking with us shortly through a phone-in section. Yeah, hello. So we just want to get from our producer if Mr. Martin is on the line. Good morning, Mr. Martin, and welcome to Clog TV.
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for having me. And good morning to your viewers across Ghana and across the world.
Mr. Martin, we are so grateful having you. And Mr. Martin, I believe you heard what the finance minister said last week when he was addressing the press. And according to the finance minister, in his statement, paragraph 51, he made a particular emphatic word by saying that the provisional total central government debt at the end of June 2024 stood at 742 billion Ghana cedis. With this statement, Mr. Martin, what do you think? What is your take on this statement? And even our current public debt that has reached 761.1 billion Ghana cedis. What is your take on that?
Yes, once again, thank you. He's rightly right on those debt position. As of June 2024, our debt position was 742 billion, and that's amount about a GDP ratio of 70.2%. Then there was an incremental jump from 742 to 761.1 at the end of July. Now, debt on itself is not a bad thing. Debt, all developed economies across the world finance their production and economic growth trajectory by using debt. The likes of the U.S. has a huge debt balance in Japan. But the case is that what are those debts being used for? That is the question we should be interested in. So, for example, is the debt being used to finance production? Is the debt being used to finance growth? Is it used to create buffer to stand exogenous stocks or external stocks when those happen in the case of COVID and Russia-Ukraine war? Are we financing critical productive sectors like agriculture, energy, education, supporting industry, providing the needed climate for private sector to thrive, providing jobs and also increasing the income levels of the citizens? If that is the case, then we don't have a problem. Also, another critical thing about debt, when you're analyzing, is whether the debt is being held by external creditors or domestic creditors. When you look at our current debt profile now, about 61% of the debt is being held by external creditors, those foreigners, and then about 39% is being held by domestic creditors. It means that since a larger portion of our debt is being held by external creditors, what it means is that the government will need the dollar or the foreign exchange to be able to pay those debts when they mature, and that will expect pressure on the world, on the cedi, and cause it to depreciate against the external currencies. Another key thing to measure when you're looking at debt is also looking at the sustainability of those debts. When we talk about sustainability, we are looking at the ability to raise the needed cash flows to pay those debts or pay your debt obligation in terms of the interest and principal when they mature. So so these are the three criteria or metrics you look at debt issues. You look at what the debt has been used for, what critical sectors have been financed with those debts, who are those holding the debt. If a large portion of those debts are being held by external creditors, it means that the government, the cedi will depreciate against the dollar and other foreign currencies, because the government will need to mobilize domestic foreign reserves to be able to pay those debts. So contextualizing this discussion, in the case of Ghana, currently our debt to GDP ratio, based on the 761.1 billion Ghana cedis, our debt to GDP ratio is 72%. That is highly unsustainable. That is why we have gone to subscribe to the IMF program to achieve debt sustainability, which require that we restructure both our domestic and external debt. If you notice from the statement that the finance minister made, he clearly stated that they are going to do a debt exchange, and they are on the path of achieving the debt stability requirement of the IMF program. So there will be a debt restructuring again, because the 761 billion is not a sustainable debt position. If you are supposed to pay those debts, we may have limited resources. After paying wages, after paying interest and principal, we may have limited resources to finance growth and production in the economy and create the needed jobs and income for our citizenry. That is why it is important that those debts were used for production, to the extent that today we are restructuring our debt. It's an indication that the accumulated debt that we have made over the period have not been used to support production. Look at the macro economy, just like a private sector. When you spend money, you spend the money purposely to generate profit or to expand your business. The same applies to the government or the central government. When you take taxes and you borrow money, The agenda is to finance growth and to and make sure that one, GDP is growing, income levels are growing, unemployment rates are going, the interest rate is going up to sustain private sector. You are providing the needed climate for the private sector to thrive. So if today our CD is depreciating, today our debt has ballooned, while GDP is not growing the extent to which we want it, income levels are very low, inflation is high, it tells you that those debts were not prudently used in financing growth activities. That is why we are here and we need to do the restructuring. Now, you ask the question, what does this impact the economy? One, whenever government, currently, if you rightly know, we have been blacklisted from the external market. We cannot go to the external capital market to go and borrow because our debt levels are really high and they are unsustainable. So what the government is doing is to depend on multilateral financiers, just like the IMF program and the World Bank, and also depending on the domestic market by way of treasury bills and the like. So when government comes to the domestic market, hello?
Yes, sir, please, in your statement, you made mention of the fact that we need to know what the debt or the money we go for has been used for. That is point number one. You also make the point that in terms of our debt, we should look at whether it is domestic or external. And based on, so let me speak to the statement of the 2023, what the finance minister presented, based on the 742 billion Ghana cedis. He said that a percentage of, that is 69%, represents external debt. That is the amount of 452 billion Ghana cedis. And in terms of domestic, that is 290 billion Ghana cedis. So in terms of do you think that our debt is still going to increase sake of the depreciation rates we have? And also speaking to the aspect whether the money that we went for as the money we borrowed, has it been used for its rightful purpose?
Thank you very much. Yes, of course, when you look at when the debt, a large proportion of it is coming from the external side, it sends two indications. One is that you don't have enough domestic savings to support government financing in terms of its budget. So, and secondly, it also indicates that when you have a larger external debt, it means that you need to pay by use of the dollar. I get to the point. You need to get forex to be able to pay those debts. So if you are not exporting enough to generate the needed forex, then that will mean that you compete with the local importers who need the forex, and that will exert pressure on the dollar and cause the cedi to depreciate. So one of the high level of external borrowing is that causes your local currency to depreciate because the external currency, the foreign currency, to be able to pay for your debt obligations. So that is one. Now, can you ask whether were used in production? You see, two good things. When you spend well, the macroeconomic indicators will show same. So, but when you look at today, it's very high, interest rate is very high, GDP is not growing as expected, industry and agri sectors are not as expected, it presupposes that. And to the extent that the tax to GDP ratio is still within 10%, it tells you that the needed that we borrowed over the period were not used in financing growth and activities. That is why today we have to go and factor the debt to give us some faith. You wouldn't if the debt were used to finance activities that would generate the needed revenue to pay for those debt obligations. Do you understand? To the extent that we are going for restructuring, to the extent that we have gone to IMF for bailout, it tells you that the debt that we borrowed over the period have not been used judiciously to generate the needed revenue to pay for those debts. That is why we are going for all this restructuring and things. Are you here with me? And it's indicative in the macroeconomic indicators.
Okay, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, please. Please, thank you so much. In your submission, you made mention of the fact that multilateral institution also is one of the factor of this public debt. And we remember so well the finance Minister mentioned that the increase in debt is partly due to disbursements from multilateral institutions and domestic budget financing. So how should Ghana balance external and domestic borrowing to manage this debt sustainability?
I didn't hear the last bit of it.
So please, I would like to know how should Ghana balance external and domestic borrowing to manage its debt sustainability?
Okay, sure. So what we need to do is you borrow to finance your excess expenditure. Maybe your revenue is not enough to meet your expenditure, so you go to borrow externally or domestically. Now, the challenge in the African economies is that because they don't produce enough, they don't generate enough income to be able to support government financing. So what government does is to do external borrowing. And to the time that we invest in the lives of our people, so that they generate income enough and can save things to support government activities, then that will be good for the country. If we don't do that, then what we'll continuously do is to go to external creditors to borrow money from them. Are you getting the point?
Yes, please.
So what government needs to do from now going to the future is to reduce, is to work to the international capital market so that they can have access to forex coming into the economy.
Okay.
So that will bring some stability on the exchange rate. 2, particularly when we are going to an election, we borrow so much and spend to win the election.
Okay.
Deficit, and then in the next after the election year, trying to achieve macroeconomic stability. So the question is that government to control expenditure from now to the end of the year. It is not because of election we will spend beyond our budget. We should work within our limit so that we make sure that the public funds are used judiciously, not for really election purposes.
Okay, say thank you so much for that. In your submission, you made mention of the fact that the finance minister must understand that there is going to be a new offer of that, the exchange or restructuring of debt. And how effective are such measures in achieving debt sustainability? Do you think that the new structure that they are putting out there is really going to help us achieve this debt sustainability?
Yeah, of course. When you want to achieve debt sustainability, there are 2 ways of going about it. One, it ultimately means that you are restructuring your debt, but it's 2 things that you want to do in that. One, what you want to do is to extend the maturities of your debt obligations. So, for example, when you have a debt that's due for 5 years, because you don't have the ability to pay, you then negotiate with the creditor that I want to pay in 10 or 15 years' time. So that can give you some breathing space. You understand?
Yes.
Also, what you do in debt restructuring is to also reduce the interest rate that you pay on the loans or the facility. So maybe you're paying, say, 20% on your debt. Then you then say that, oh, because I don't have the ability now, can you renegotiate it and then bring it down to 10% so that I can get some space and be able to discharge the debt obligation. So ultimately, any engagement to restructure the debt of any country, the objective is to achieve debt sustainability. Sustainability in the sense that to have the ability to pay and create some space to be able to finance group-oriented programs. You understand?
Yes.
So it ultimately would lead to achieving debt sustainability to the extent that we will restructure those debts.
Okay, so please, this is my last but one question. So, given the current economic issues we have in this country, do you think that the Ministry of Finance or Ghana is in line, or we are in target of attaining or hitting the target set by the IMF program? Do you think you are in line?
If we continuously borrow and we are not prudent in our public financing, it will delay our progress in achieving such targets. To the extent that as of June, our debt was 142 billion, and debt a month we have moved billion to 751 billion. It tells you that we continue to our public expenditure, and we shouldn't do that, particularly in this to be prudent, to stay with this budget and not overspend just because we win our election. nearly in the last 20 our deficit was over 15%. But the fiscal regime or the law that governs our fiscal regime says that our fiscal deficit will only be 5% of GDP. Okay. But we did more than 50% of GDP in less than 2020. Okay. That tells you how public pay are overrun during electionary years. And if you have to move towards achieving that target, we must stay within the budget limits that we set for ourselves as a country.
Okay, sir. So thank you so much. Before you go, sir, what is your...
Quickly.
Okay.
Yes.
So, sir,
you continue.
Yeah, so before you go, so I would like to know your opinion. What do you think should be the strategy, the long-term strategy in sustaining our debts as a country?
Now, what we need to do as a country, in the beginning, in the short term, what we are doing is very good to restructure our debt because we don't have the space to be able to pay. Now, the fiscal space that we create after restructuring the debt must be used for productive and growth-oriented activities. For example, what do I mean by that? Support agriculture. If you look at currently what we are facing as a country, domestic food inflation is very high. And income levels are not increasing. So the economic welfare of the people are deteriorating. So what we need to do is that first invest in food production. Let there be luxury of foods on the market so that the prices of those goods will go down. When we get a fiscal space after restructuring our debt, we need to provide the needed infrastructure, investment infrastructure that will spur private investment in the economy. We need to provide the climate that is necessary for foreign direct investment and portfolio investment to come into the economy. We need to support the private sector in the production by providing them loanable funds and decrease government dependable on competing with them for loanable funds in the economy. One of the challenges we have is that to the extent that government is competing with the private sector for loanable funds, what happens is that the private sector will be denied of funds to spare or to support their growth. That will not create employment and that will not create income level.
Okay.
The debt continues. If government continues to do this, interest rates in the economy will go high.
Okay.
So we pressure on the cities and our ratings by the credit rating organizations will go down. And that will increase our risk premium that in the foreseeable future that external creditors or domestic creditors will give to the country. And that will not be good for us. Okay, so government, just be prudent. Use the fiscal space that we need to support group-oriented projects. That is all.
Okay, please, I said thank you so much for having you on Clock TV Business Update segment of Cocoa Digest Morning Show. We are so grateful and we hope to have you another day, especially in studio discussion, so we delve more deeper into this very topic. Thank you. That is Mr. Martin Ohene Enim, a PhD finance candidate, and also, as we said earlier, chartered accountant. Thank you, viewers, for staying with us. I believe you have come to understand the public debt issues in Ghana, and we'll bring you more of such stories on Business Update segments moving forward. Stay with us all the time. Cocoa Digest will always give you the best. I am Clement Yabankwe. Enjoy the rest of the show with Yaira Awuno and her guest. Stay.
Clog TV, Beyond the Policy.
I need my gun, Kane. I need the gun.
You will have the gun as soon.
Tigress!
I'm the big fat panda.
The whooshy finger hold. Oh, you know this hold.
Did not see that coming.
Choose someone else. Please.
You today, I want you to know it.
36 years ago, you left me at the front door of a fire station. I'm your biological son. If you think I'm gonna forgive you,
I don't.
Screw you. You wanna meet your grandchildren?
He is looking good.
He's not right.
Your wife is in distress, Jack.
Remember what Dad used to say?
Go see your babies. They're excited to meet their father.
I just want to take a moment and thank everyone in law enforcement who helped us in the search for our beloved daughter.
There's no point hiding things from me.
You're psychic.
No, just paying attention. I've been watching you and your husband. I understand what you're feeling right now.
You have no idea.
I do. I know. Did you kill your daughter? How dare you? Did you kill your daughter? Jude, please. Honestly, it's not as bad as it looks.
Classic Red John smiley face. Drawn in the victim's blood. Gloves with 3 fingers of his right hand.
This isn't Red John. In all the previous killings, he made sure that the first thing that anyone sees is the face on the wall. Then, and only then, do you see the body of the victim.
Clog TV, Beyond the Policy.
Please, they are bringing me water. Wait. You're welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Harnessing digital innovation for business growth and some success stories and, of course, strategies. And our guest for today is Mr. Victor Elommoga. And he's the team lead for Melvic Technologies and Repeller. So let me read a little bit of his profile to us. So Victor Elommoga is a computer science graduate from the University of Ghana. He's a certified CCNA and CompTIA Network Plus professional with experience in UI UX design. Victor is the team lead and founder of Melvic Technologies. And then also it is a tech company that provides innovative solutions for both software and hardware businesses, and Repeller. So Repeller is the first premium service center for laptops and phones in Accra. He's also an expert in computer hardware and software. Victor has completed several projects in his 10 years of experience in the industry, and he is passionate about creating user-friendly interfaces and developing softwares that solve real-world problems. So Victor also is a dedicated professional who is committed to delivering high-quality work to his clients, and he's popularly known on Facebook as the Repeller, and a name he acquired due to his excellence in fixing the complicated laptop motherboard issues. So his main skills include UI UX design, software development, computer hardware pro, and of course, networking. So, yes, I hope you're doing well this morning. Very well. Okay, so let's get into it. When we say digital innovation, what does it mean to the layman?
Let me say good morning to your listeners this morning and those following us on social media. Good morning. Yeah. So when you talk about digital innovation, what we are trying to say in layman's term is leveraging on technology, using new technologies to make businesses work better and smarter. You know, so for example, say you have a bicycle, you ride it manually. Now, if you are relying on digital innovation, what's going to happen is that you attach an engine to the bicycle to ease your movement. Instead of, you know, when you get to your mountainous areas, instead of you riding it hard, the engine helps you to propel the bicycle to move faster. So that's the same way you can think about when you talk about digital innovation, relying on tech to, you know, streamline the work that you do to make it faster and smarter.
Okay, so it's not limited to just the software technology?
No, it's not limited to software technologies. Now, we have Internet of Things. A lot of this hardware we have, you know, are very smart.
Yeah.
So when you talk about digital technology, it shouldn't be limited to software. You know, software is a component of that, but it's a software that drives the hardware to make things smarter and easier for all of us.
So is it open to any and every kind of business or just specifics?
Okay, so when you're talking about digital innovation for businesses, that's that's an area.
Okay.
I'm sure that's where our conversation this morning is drawn to. So how do you leverage digital innovations on business? That's a good one. So, for example, in our ministries, there used to be a lot of paperwork. That now, you know, I'm sure the government is trying to, you know, move away from those manual paperwork to, you know, everything being digitalized. So that's one way of leveraging it. You're an accountant in a firm. Every day you have to record income and expenditure in a book. Now we have a software called QuickBooks. You can migrate there, you know, instead of typing tediously on the paper. Maybe that's very hard to keep. You can even use a software, store it in the cloud, and wherever you are in the world, so far as you have internet access, you're able to access. So that's what digital innovation does for businesses. It makes you work smarter, it makes the work more efficient, and it makes the work more faster.
Okay. So still on that.
Yeah.
As let's say a lady works in the market, open market, she sells probably tomatoes or foodstuff. How would she be able to employ digital innovation into her business?
Okay, that's great. So somebody works in a market, she sells tomatoes and all of that. One way you can work, you know, people work for customers.
Okay.
You understand? You work because you want to attract more customers. All right. So what can you do? You can leverage on social media. Social media is a digital innovation that drives businesses. It has helped my business a lot. So since you mentioned a tomato seller, there's my friend on Facebook called Melissa Pell.
Okay.
So just about a couple of weeks ago, she went to buy tomato and then the woman was very kind to her. She came on social media, posted the story. And she had a lot of orders, and I'm sure she made the biggest sale of the year. How did that become possible? Because of the digital innovation of Facebook that was leveraged to help her reach out to more customers. Now she has more customers, and then now the business is all over. People know that identify this kind of tomato seller because of what this technology did for her. So that's one way. That's reaching to your customers using this kind of Facebook and all of that. Another way to you yourself put yourself out there. There are a lot of, you know, technologies out there. Have you heard of Google My Business?
Yes, I think so.
Yes. So
that's the one that helps you pin your business on the map.
Pin your business on the map. Great. So people search, where can I get the nearest tomatoes seller? The business is there. You tell them. Once you are pinning, they ask you what services do you. Oh, I sell tomatoes. I do all of that. So people search it and Google suggests it to them. It is one way of, one way that a tomato seller, that's the question you asked.
Yeah.
It's one way that a tomato seller can, take advantage of digital innovations to, to drive a business.
Okay. So again, on my tomato seller, does she need to create a website and have her account, like maybe a small tablet beside her where she keeps records and things like that in the open market?
That's it. It is a tool available. But if you are looking at tomatoes, the average tomato seller in Ghana, they don't have these kind of digital skills. You understand? But I mean, I'm sure Facebook, people are on TikTok. The old women are a lot, they are on TikTok. So that's another digital solutions. There are a lot that people can take advantage of. There's a woman there who sells groceries. So normally she package them. Okay, all these groceries are going for 200 cedis. People see the videos and then they are interested in all of that. Okay, so it depends. So if it's a tomato seller who is a graduate, and there are a lot of people like that, university graduates who are very industrious. I know many of them. They have websites, they have very good social media accounts and all of that manages all of these things. So why not? You can, so far as you are out there, there are a lot of tools that you can take advantage of. And some of them, they don't require you to have a university degree before you can create an account. Creating an account on TikTok is just as simple as ABC. That if your mom is doing this kind of business, you are still on a tomato seller. So if your mom is doing this kind of business, and then you are a child and you can help in these areas, okay, it helps drive the business.
I was asking because as you even said, the average person on the open market does not have digital skills. So with this conversation, somebody may think that, I'm not part of this, or I'm not going to benefit any kind of information. I'm not going to benefit from the information given. That's why I'm trying to see if there's some connection there that we can make for people that don't think that they can employ the use of some digital technology. So I was also reading a little, I saw some digital transformation. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. Let's talk about this, digital transformation. What's you are trying to say? It means digital innovation, digital transformation. So once you innovate digitally, it's going to transform your business. They are linked together, right? So using digital transformation is just like leveraging on technology to change how your business runs.
Okay.
Do you understand? So, for example, first, if you used to rate your customers with signboards, okay, now you want to change how you're going to reach your customers. Are you going to use social media? Are you going to build a website? Are you going to, leverage on other tech things, tech gadgets like Zoom?
Okay.
Not to sound spiritually biased, that's what a lot of professors are using now, right? Instead of going to church,
in Clubhouse,
yes. They have they open Clubhouse accounts or Zoom where they can, or Google Meet, where they can interact people live. They can call your name, they can speak to you, they can do all of that. So this is what digital transformation does, right? So that's leveraging on technology to change how your business operates, right? If you had been to the banks in the early 2000s, you see there are a lot of changes that have gone on. Now there are banks that are relying on digital transformation. You don't even need to be there to open an account.
Yeah, you can.
Yes. Last time I did with EcoBank, I just had to, use my phone and Ghana card. I was just able to open a smart account to transact that same day. I wasn't present at the bank. That's digital transformation. Would that be possible in 20 years ago?
Yeah, no.
That's not going to be possible. So that's how transformation is. Technology is changing businesses. That's how it's driving businesses globally.
Okay. Yeah. So can you share any success stories you have where digital innovation transformed the business?
Yeah, I have a lot of success stories on this one. So, for example, look at Netflix and Pebble. So Netflix, when Netflix came, what was what the traditional media was used to, CDs, DVDs, and all of that, right? So it had to convince a lot of people that, no, we have this app. Once you have it, you can watch whatever content you have without having to use CDs. It took time, but they had their own challenges with upload speed and all of that. But with time, they've improved. Even locally, we have Pebble. Have you heard of Pebble?
Pebble, yes.
Yes, so Pebble is also a streaming app.
Yeah.
Locally made in Ghana.
Okay.
That's they have very authentic content there. Local, you have Euphoria, like a lot of content that that's a very good. They have podcasts and all of that. That people leverage on. It's just like Netflix. So they also have to convince a lot of people to move away from the traditional media, CDs and all of that to stream. And so with time, they face challenges. Once there's an opportunity like that, people are not always, susceptible to change. People take time before they adapt. But once they push it, once Netflix push it, they came to Ghana, started in the US, now it's in Ghana and all of that. Get it? So that's how, these are some of the success stories that digital transformation is what is doing for a lot of people. There are some stores like Amazon, they made it possible for a lot of e-commerce shops to come out, right? So when they started, it wasn't as smooth as that. People go and rent books, go to libraries and rent books and read. They said, no, we've digitalized all the books here. Come and buy them. Keep them on your tablet and read. They faced a lot of challenges, but they've sailed through. Because of that, a lot of e-commerce websites have built out of all of that. So now everybody gets to create websites, they attach e-commerce to it. This is how technology is transforming business. You understand? There are a lot of countless examples. Look at education, for instance. Now there are a lot of smart labs being built around the country and all of that. People sitting there. When there was COVID, universities had to rely on technology. Created a lot of Zoom accounts and all of that. They enrolled a lot of their students on the platform to be able to attend lectures online. That wasn't possible before. But
And
that's
even
what
with
technology.
churches too.
Yes, with churches too. The same thing is happening. You understand? So that's how technology transforms business. How digital innovation transforms businesses.
So what are some of the key strategies that businesses should adopt to be able to harness digital innovation effectively? Okay.
So the strategies to use, now we have some of the coolest, technologies around. Now people can leverage on. I believe you've all heard of AI.
Yes.
It's artificial intelligence. Okay, so it's just like a super smart computer that can help company predict customers what they want and all of that. It's the way AI is built. It's leverages on the kind of information that we put in the system. So with time it learns the behavior and all of that. But it's improving. It helps people to, it helps companies to really predict what their customers want and all of that. And then we look at Internet of Things.
Okay.
When we talk about IoT, it's just like the normal hardware things that we use at home. Okay. Now we have smart curtains. With an app, you just press it and the curtains open. If you want the curtains to close, you just press the bottom and then, it's just curtains. But it's being controlled by a software. And these are some of the things, these are some of the strategies that people are using. And another strategy is what we call the cloud computing. You work in a company, you have, sometimes things can be very slow when you have a lot of departments around. How do you share data? Right, you have cloud computing. So what companies are doing now is that they bought a big storage online, sitting somewhere. That's once you are done with the file, it synchronizes it, and then people have access to it wherever they are in the world. So you have to submit a report to your GM, right? do it locally on your computer, upload it on your company server. Your general manager is in the US. Once he has innovations, I'll touch on artificial intelligence. Now, there are a lot of websites that rely on AI. Now, once customers have problem, this same technology give them feedback. Do you understand my point? So, for example, you go to some websites, then a pop-up comes, how may we help you? UMB has that app, EcoBank have that app, they call it Akushika or whatever it is. So once you sign on and they have a problem, they have changed the human face to customer service. So the AI will interact with you. Probably, you can't have access to your account. These are something that they feed the AI to be able to help you out. So it's changed. You go to some websites, HP website, you have a problem with your HP laptop. They will make you speak to your bot first. That's like a bot that has been designed with AI. You tell the bot your name and all of that. What's the problem you have? What's the problem with your laptop and all of that? So I can't turn it on and all of that. So it will give you suggested solution. Try this. If it doesn't work, try this. If it doesn't work, go to the third option. And once you get a solution, that's it. Without even bringing the customer service phase to your business, and AI has been able to help you out on this. So when you talk about digital transformation, the kind of leverage it gives business is enormous. It's so enormous. So I always encourage businesses to try and leverage on them. Don't wait till you are being left behind before you come in. So people should be very curious with technologies. When it comes, try and leverage on it. You understand? Try and leverage. It's what we've been doing. With my company, for instance, we always leverage on technology. Once the app is out, once it comes out and it benefits your business, you try it with your business and it fits. Keep to it. Understand? It helps you. It helps you speed, and then it makes things convenient for people. And so if you can sit in your home, you want to buy an iPhone and order online, you go for it. Instead of you walking, if you trust the brand, you go for it. Instead of you walking to the shop to get it done. Right. So these are some strategies companies can adopt too.
So can you touch a bit on digital marketing, especially SEO?
SEO.
Yes. What is SEO? How does it help us?
All right. So we talk about digital transformation today. So digital marketing, that's relying on these tools to market your products and all of that. So SEO is search engine optimization. All right. So search engine optimization, what it does is that if you are search engine optimized, for example, you have a website and people go, okay, the best place to repair laptop in Accra. If you've optimized your site, well, it's, the suggestions that Google give you, it ranks it, higher. You understand? That the search helps you. Even when people are searching on social media or partner ad search engines, the ranking on your website or on your social media, it's high. And that's what we mean by search engine optimization. How good, when people want solution online, then they search you in these search engines like Google or Bing. You have a lot of them. Safari also has it, right? Yahoo search is there. So how easily can you be found when people are looking out for you online? That is search engine optimization. So I entreat businesses, right? So how do you get how do you get into the rankings? Get a very good website. Understand? You get a very good website and then use the right way of updating your website links and all of that. So for example, somebody, if you want to go to their business about us page, instead of probably they have something you call meta settings. Whatever page, you give a description of the page. Some people don't update that. And sometimes they just use generic numbers. The softwares don't recognize that. So people should use the right way, right medium to, design their website so that they get the most out of search engine optimization. Aside that, SEO is not a big problem now.
Okay.
Let's look at social media apps that we have. A lot of businesses have changed. They are making more because of social media apps. My business is an example. When we do sales on Facebook, the impact is enormous. We get a lot of customers coming in. Yeah, so it's something that we've identified that it helps us, and we leverage on it. Understand? So businesses, look out. Let's look out there. There are a lot of social media apps. Look at the one that helps you. There is a very good app for every business. Understand? If you are into photography, mostly Instagram, helps. IG helps you a lot. Yeah, but if you are dealing with human-centric business, I think Facebook is also it's a very good choice that you can leverage on. Right, and keep posting. Right, yes, keep posting it. It improves.
We will come to that part, how to manage your accounts. But then you were mentioning the websites and optimizing and getting a good website in there, but the percentage of Ghanaians now that have some kind of tech background or even knowledge is very low. And there are lots of business owners, a lot of people who may not have gone to school or further their education are also business owners. So people like this, how would you suggest they navigate a system or a time we are in where there's so much, there's a surge of digital innovation now. So like as you're even talking about the website and things like that, how does someone, maybe a JHS leaver who is a business owner who wants to use these things, how does the person manage something like that?
Yeah, so there's always a starting point, right? If you can't afford to hire a professional to do, there's always a starting point. You can start from social media. That's always my first advice to people. Social media is also just like another form of website. So if I have a business, it's how many minutes does it take to create a business page? It doesn't take a lot of effort to do that. Right? With a little education, you'll be up and running on Facebook. Right? Google Business, it doesn't take a lot of education to be able to do that. Right? So once you know how to use your phone, these things should, there shouldn't be a problem. Right? But my point is that try and put yourself out there in the market. Yeah, if you can't afford a website, rely on social media. TikTok is there. TikTok, you can even. I recently found out you could just open it with your phone number. That's it. I mean, so far as your phone number, you can just open it and start taking pictures and posting. Start doing videos about your products. Just be known. So that when people are looking for something, the algorithm can suggest you out. You get it. Yeah. So my advice to them is they should always leverage on that. Right. So if you can't get someone who can, a lot of companies that build websites. We build websites ourselves. So if you can get in touch with companies that build websites, just pay them a token, let them manage the website for you. It helps. It helps. Once, because it opens you to the global community. Understand? Unlike having just a signpost that only those in your vicinity will know you. But once you're out there, you have a website, you have a good social media, page, you open yourself to the global community, right? And then you never know what will come out.
So what is the impact, or can you touch on the importance of data-driven decision-making for a local business owner who is looking to harness digital innovation?
Yeah, so data-driven.
Data-driven decision-making.
Yeah, data-driven decision, that's great. So how do you get that? Is it data-driven? So you need data to be able to make these kind of decisions. So when I get the opportunity to discuss about startups with my fellow entrepreneurs, there's one advice I give to people: collect data. It's very, very important. That's what helped me when I started Melvic Technologies. Even though we started with laptop repairs and phone, we had database of all our customers that came in. So we knew the kind of, so we collected data. Okay, you come in. What was the problem? You brought a phone. Okay, a laptop. The hinge was broken. We fixed it for you. Then this is the day you brought a laptop and all of that. We have all those kind of information, and so with time, we feed it into a system. Right? So even Excel helped us analyze all of that. We feed it into a system, so you're able to make decisions. Okay, so which kind of machine model are our customers having problem with? Realize that there's one particular brand that I'm not going to mention it, that a lot of customers had problems with their hinge.
Yeah.
If you are selling, you are a grocery seller, you sell stuff in your shop, you sell Milo, you sell Nido, you sell all of that. Okay. So once they buy a Milo, you know, the stock that finishes earlier.
Yeah.
So next time, if your shop is becoming empty, and then you also always you're going to get some products that get expired in the shop. So next time you are going into the market again, you look at your data you have, and then you can decide, okay, last time I bought this product, they only bought one, and about 50 of them are left in the stock. And in a week time, they're all going to expire. So when you're going next, are you going to buy them in bulk again? You're not going to maybe buy a couple of them. And then there are some products that within the shortest possible time they get finished. And you look at your data and say, okay, I'm going to the market again. This time around, I'm going to get more of this. This is what it does for businesses. So it boils down to collecting the right data. If you're a business owner, try and then invest in how to collect data on your businesses. So the phones that you are using, they all have data tracking apps. So the apps that normally phone comes with is the data they've collected from we the users. That's what informs them on, okay, so next time, to realize that, okay, the first time they introduced the camera into the phone, you know, they realized that people wanted to take a picture of themselves. So they'll turn the back of the camera. That's how we are taking selfies at first.
Yes.
Yes, until they rely on that data to make a decision to, you know,
bring
put a front camera on the phone to enable users to, you know. So they were collecting data from, you know, people. Sometimes when you are using an iPhone and it gets crashed, it asks you, do you want to send feedback to Apple? And it gives you that. So these are all some of the information they take from us. So you as a business owner, you have to decide which kind of information is relevant for the growth of your business. So once your customers are patronizing you, look at the services that they normally patronize. Look at the suggestions that they give you, and make decisions out of that. Right, so that's very, very important. There are a lot of softwares that help you do that. Excel is a good software. That's Power BI and all of that. These are skills, digital skills that you can learn and then make very good and intelligent decisions for your business.
Okay. So, yes, we have a few comments. So, Welbeck Moga says, love you, Daddy, from Welbeck Kwesi. And we have Jennifer Moga also. She sent some smiling emojis. So, you have a few fans in there. Yes, please don't forget to send in your comments, your questions, and suggestions to our Facebook and YouTube live stream. You can also send them to our WhatsApp number that is displayed on your screen intermittently. And then also the phone lines will be open so you can call and ask your questions. Now, it seems I forgot to mention the person behind my dress, and my beautiful, beautiful dress is by Seam by B. She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram, as Seam by B. Just contact her and she will make you look as beautiful as I do today. We're taking a quick break. Right after that, we will continue the conversation. So stay tuned, call a friend, come and learn something about digital innovation for your local business. We'll be right back.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
I just want to take a moment and thank everyone in law enforcement who helped us in the search for our beloved daughter.
There's no point hiding things from me.
You're psychic.
No, just paying attention. I've been watching you and your husband. I understand what you're feeling right now.
You have no idea.
I do. I know. Did you kill your daughter? How dare you? Did you kill your daughter? Jude, please. Honestly, it's not as bad as it looks.
Classic Red John smiley face. Drawn in the victim's blood. Gloves with 3 fingers of his right hand.
This isn't Red John. In all the previous killings, he made sure that the first thing that anyone sees is the face on the wall. Then, and only then, do you see the body of the victim.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
Welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Call a friend, text a friend to join our live stream on Facebook and YouTube at Clog TV. Send in your comments and suggestions to our live stream or to our WhatsApp numbers. The phone lines would also be open soon, so you can call and ask your questions. We are discussing digital innovation, harnessing digital innovation, first in the person of Mr. Victor Elomoga, and he is the team lead for Melvic Technologies and Repeller. So yes, back to